Jeff Fagan from Reach Films will join us, have a conversation. Anybody else that's welcome to join, you know how that works. It's always there. Just jump in the comments. I'll post the link for it. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'll post this. There you go. If you want to join the conversation live, you can do that. Click that and I'll review you and see. But let's see what's happening over on the thing. We'll add it to the stream. 33 seconds. Here's my thing about Blackmagic. So in case you guys don't know, for a long time, Craft Show did not utilize Blackmagic products except for DaVinci and a couple little gimmicks like these little recorder guys. And so now I'm using a different product altogether to do my live stream. However, we bought a G2 and we fell madly in love with it and have used it quite a bit. In fact, Jeff's using it right now. You probably saw this on his phone. Jeff's on a job and he's using this right now up in New York. Not New York. That's false. Up in somewhere, a place. And he's not in New York. And he's working on that. So here's Blackmagic. Looks like they got some gimmicks out front. Let's see what they're talking about.
We've also got some new products to show you. So let's have a look. Now, the first thing I thought would be worth doing is doing a bit of a summary on A2 Mini. Everything we're going to be showing you is going to be built on top of what we're already doing with A2 Mini now. So I think it's probably worth just starting with a summary of kind of its feature set. Now, we've been very happy with the response to A2 Mini. Yeah, we worked very, very hard on it, and it's been remarkable. What we've been, it's an all-in-one control panel.
Let's see if I can mute this right quick.
The switcher and the control panel are actually.
All right, so just from the get-go, just kind of looking at it, we're getting this review on this A2. I've never used it. I don't really know what it is or what it does. Don't care super much. I am curious to see if they're going to roll out some new cameras. That's what we came here to watch. So feel free to jump on their side too. It's probably a better quality piece, but I thought I'd just throw this up here just for funzos. Again, just paying tribute back. We're going to do a live stream discussing anything that happens on this actually over on Reach Films YouTube channel. So if you head over to Reach Films or head over to YouTube and follow Reach Films, you might want to watch that. Or if you're watching this after the fact, I just decided to do something live because it was lunchtime and I was taking a little break from doing nothing. I thought with my nothingness, I would just share some more nothingness. Either way, there's old Jeff Fagan. Let's throw him in the mix. Well, I thought he was here. Joff, are you here? I don't know where he is. I'll let him join here in a second. Once he gets his business together, we'll throw it in. All right, so I'll kick the out. There he is. Nope. There he went. Don't know what happened to him. We're live on that side of it. So we're kind of watching this. It's whatever this little device gimmick is. I will turn the audio back up for a brief minute.
So it's very, very powerful just as a product like that. But then if you use the
Plop. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. I'm just watching this. I don't know what this gimmick is. This looks like a little like that Stream Deck thing.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. So are we going to be able to hear it through?
Yeah, I just muted him because I didn't really care what he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean we're here for the camera.
Yeah. Live Switcher Box. Thomas knows.
Yeah.
Just me and you, sir. Kevin Chung. I love Kevin Chung. He's my hero. Thomas Donalek. I love you too because you've been around a while and I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I'm using a Elgato thing, which I think means the cat. I'm from Alabama, so that's about as much Spanish as I got for you. Roll Tide.
So the rumor is 8K camera, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the live switcher gimmick's fine as long as it works with HDMI and it works. Because I'll be honest with you, like, so here's the Blackmagic Recorders. Like, I don't know if everybody else has used these. They're kind of here's
great,
the issue,
but they're basic.
But they're Mac only. They're. I mean, I guess there's some PCs. Well, there's some PCs, but it's a Thunderbolt 2 spot. So
that's why. Okay, there's the connection.
It's definitely not as easy as this Elgato thing. Like, if you guys don't know what we're on StreamYard is what we use, and I'll affiliate link if anybody's interested. And I'm literally you use like a little thumb drive looking gimmick, and I'm using this $160 thing. I don't care about broadcasting in 4K. I don't think anyone cares about broadcasting in 4K yet.
Nope.
It doesn't really matter. I think pixel
especially in these times where broadcasting in 4K is probably not the best.
No, because you're eating up bandwidth. So we're just waiting to see what camera comes out.
Mhm.
And Craft Show has shifted. We've grown. We talk about tech and it's important. I thought this would just be more of a funsy sort of one-off. Your channel is much more tech focused than we are at this point. So we are going to do an in-depth conversation, maybe bring in some other people. I think Worley might join us on that one. I think he's actually shooting right now on a G2.
Yeah.
Weirdly, Craft Show, the brand that said they would never use Blackmagic products beyond DaVinci.
I love that. I love that. When Jeff texted me, he's like, "Hey, by the way, we got Blackmagic." I'm like, "No."
Yeah, that little turd. I told him, I was like, "No one must know." No, and it's like cheating with porn.
Well, I'm even cheating on my Blackmagic right now. I'm actually shooting on a Z cam right now.
Oh, did you get one?
I've actually had one, but not the new E2, the E1.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. The 1080 one, right?
No, it's 4K. It's just, weirdly enough, the HDMI, the video feed that comes out of it is way better than what it records internally. But I mean, the thing's the size of a GoPro. So it's like, incredible. Are you really going to hook up a thing that costs way more, like an Atomos recorder that costs way more than the device on this little GoPro looking thing? I don't think so.
No.
But I mean, live streaming, like I should have been using this all along.
I'm kind of thinking that's a much better idea because I'm using one of our GH5s for live streaming. Jeff has most of the camera package right now, but I'm using one of our GH5s for live streaming. It's good enough, It's not one that has a vlog on it, so I just turn it to Rec 709 or whatever we have in there and just go with it.
That's cool. That's cool. I actually had to do a little bit of settings. I did 2 live streams this morning, and the first one, nobody noticed. The second one, they're like, "Do you have some kind of diffusion on it?" And I go through the settings, and I realized like I needed to mess with the contrast, saturation, and I think that's all I messed with. But yeah, once I did that, I actually looked normal-ish.
Yeah. The E2C is made for live stream. Oh, what am I doing? I have this button now. Kevin Chung says the E2C is made for live stream, I think. And he was talking about the E2 over the Blackmagic Pocket. You can comment on this because you've kind of played with both, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's really cool. I really like the cameras. I'm not necessarily sold on them as like an A camera quite yet, but I really like them. The E2C is essentially a repackaged E1 with a better processor. So you actually get 10-bit. You only get 4K 30, but you also have the same crop in the sensor as the E1 has. So it's basically a crop that's equivalent to like a Lumix G7 or a GH4. But it's good. They're decent quality. The E2C is basically a low budget 4K camera that shoots 10-bit. So I do like it. It's like $800. But it's got its quirks and it's a newer, I consider, the new ones is beta, and I consider this E1 that I have like an alpha camera.
Right.
So I personally would not invest fully into the Z cams until the next line comes out. But, the E2 series is really nice. And I think, whatever they come out with next is going to be really cool.
Jim just said,
I agree.
Dude set looks like he will be cooking food soon. That's pretty funny. That's a lot of cameras. Maybe he's talking about that. Let's jump back in and see if he's saying anything relevant. I'll unmute. Here we go.
But when they're doing a live program, they're just using them with A10 Mini to do live production with them as well. Now, obviously, the benefits is it's amazing picture quality. I mean, the picture quality, there's a digital film camera, so they look incredible. They're also fantastic with low light. And they've got a reasonably big viewfinder compared to consumer cameras. Like, you can see the difference between the consumer camera here.
Except it's flat on the back. I still hate the back.
A little bit like studio camera. However, there are some problems when using pocket cinema cameras for live production. They are digital film cameras, and so there is some limitations. Like, for example, you can't use the film gamma because the video looks flat. So you kind of need to use a 3D lookup table to make the video look better, to make it look more like finished video. And it's a bit more complicated to set up. So
I'm going to mute that again. Let's talk about this real quick because Jeff, you've done live streaming off of it's a very simple solution. You've been doing off of a Pocket 4K, right?
And just like Grant said, he's totally correct. I've had to basically use a LUT as the preview LUT. Let's pop this on.
And it works with all the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K and the 6K models. There's also a software update for the A10 Mini to do camera.
I guess we missed it.
Now there's no.
I think it was just an update on the control.
So studio cameras work by sending the information from the switcher to the cameras via the SDI return feed, and there is
Got you. That's probably what it is.
But
You're
the
totally right.
HDMI link that we have has a data wire on the communication. So even though there's video coming down the HDMI to the switcher, there's also some communication going back to the cameras, and we set all this up.
Got
So
you. I see what
They have that. It's just HDMI protocol. They've had that in TVs for a while. Like my Roku activates when I push the remote and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool that you could get this device and you know, if you have a Blackmagic product, it'll basically communicate with it. If you need this for live production, for someone like me, especially using the software we're using, it's actually way more than I would need. But you know, if you're working at a local television studio or you're really trying to bring your stuff to the next level, something like that makes sense.
Well, no, this is a good time to release this product because at this point we are talking about like live stream content, right? We are talking about.
If you have multicam and you're doing all that stuff, then using a product like that makes complete sense. You know, multicam.
So it does look like he's just patching in those 4 Blackmagic pockets he has sitting beside him, and he's going to have HDMI camera control, and he can change the look of it. Look, as a switcher goes, it's great. The reality of the situation is live streaming is going to get way more popular now. Obviously, you and I have been doing more. We've seen more content. As we stay further away from people, this kind of production is going to become, I think, more of a regular sort of life now.
Yeah, especially I think in concert. I think, you know, when people start live streaming concerts, using one of those is going to be necessary. Absolutely necessary.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised people aren't doing more concert paywalls. You know, I think one of the best innovations right now for filmmakers and anybody is to create these paywalls in play where you literally have a paywall. Like I pay the $35 to go to the concert virtually. Like give me that. Like I just paid, Craft Show paid rather, not Drew, but Craft Show paid for Jeff, the bearded Jeff, and Jeff, the Melissa Jeff. If you don't know who that is, we have another Jeff. We call him Melissa. We decided that it was a family outing. So we were going in May to see Primus play with the Sword and Wolf Mother. And we were all really excited. It was kind of like a little celebration. That's obviously been canceled. So, you know,
should do a live stream one and just send everybody the link.
I'd be all over it. I think it'd be great.
You know, especially before this whole thing happened, I know from experience, you know, they thought the demand wasn't there for the most part for the live streams. So they didn't even want to invest in the infrastructure. But I think depending on how long this goes, if people start investing in the infrastructure, I think even past this whole COVID situation, we'll start seeing a lot more live streams from popular artists just because they'll have the infrastructure to do it. So it won't be as hard. And it won't be as magical. Like they'll know what they need to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think anybody that's been on YouTube Live for a small bit of time, gamers, man, if you think about the gamers that have kind of led the charge on this stuff, you've had gamers out here making fortunes off of live streaming. It's possible, it works, people support it, and I think the age demographics aren't quite as skewed as people used to think they were. I think now it's
agreed.
It's much more of a dialogue to be had than anything else. I'm gonna throw that up. Hey, where's the after this, we were going to have a little more in-depth discussion on your channel. What is it's YouTube Reach Films, or how can we find you?
It's youtube.com/c/Reach Films.
/C/Reach Films.
Yep. I mean, honestly, if we're here, we can just continue the conversation unless you want to do the more tech talk with me.
Well, I mean, I thought, you know, I don't know how people feel of Craft Show's slight pivot to be more about production, more about stories. We're focusing right now on stories more than anything else. I mean, I'm happy to do it here, but you have reviews. We don't do much reviews anymore. So I think it's maybe a good pivot to send that audience to your world.
Right. Luckily, I'm on the same computer, so we'll do that after this.
So I'll throw it up. So if you want to be part of the conversation on the tech side of things, we'll dive in even further into it. You can follow us over here if you haven't already. It's a good spot for it. We're kind of working together. We're in a collaboration right now. Reach Films and Craft Show working together on live content, constantly putting out stuff. There's going to be some overlap as we go through it. But again, we'll talk about this Blackmagic scenario over on Reach Films channel as soon as this is done. We'll have that little chat ski.
Sweet.
So I'll just leave that up. I'll probably amend it here now that I've posted it and you approved it. I can be like following. I have a feeling though, you know, I have a feeling this is going to be mostly about live streaming stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're like, this is the time. But I do know that they announced that there is a camera update, and every time they've done that, it has been a new camera, even if it's a live streaming camera. But they said production camera.
Yeah, I'm with you. Save. There we go.
Nope. Yeah, and speaking of concerts, we actually on Jazz Is, I have to do streams for them too, and we've been having some artists come on and do basically very low key live concerts on our channel. So it's been cool to see. It's been like one man band type stuff, them playing piano and whatnot, but it's been interesting. It's been cool.
No, I get it. I totally get it. And Jeff, I'm with you on this. Jeff Diffner, as a roadie, I really hope live streaming concerts don't become the norm. I totally agree. There's a different energy live. I'm just simply
100%.
saying that I think there's an ability right now to take advantage of this downtime when we're forced away from it to innovate on top of it.
Mhm.
The switcher is free. Just kidding. Just a
Yeah, I
software.
know, right? It's free.
Yeah.
Let's go to Australia right now and grab it.
Yeah. I'm going to jump back over on the audio there just to see what he talks about, because there we go.
It's free.
And that'll support all the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K and Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K models that we've shipped up until now. Now, that's not all we have today. But also, I want to introduce a new model of A2 Mini, and it's called A2 Mini Pro. Now, the first thing to know about this new model is that it's got exact same features of the A2 Mini model, but it also has a few new and very powerful features. So let's have a look. What I'll do is I'll bring it out, and you can see, here it is here. So there it is. As you can see, it's very similar to the...
They just added a button.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, Blackmagic.
And you can also see the rear. It's got the exact same connectors on the rear panel.
But that makes it pro.
One more button and it's pro, guys.
So it's really easy to set up. But there is some extra controls on the front panel, as you can see around here. So look, what I'll do is I'll plug it in. So I'll unplug the A2 Mini, I'll plug in the A2 Mini Pro. So the first thing I'll do is plug some power in. I'll plug in some control.
I didn't pay attention. Was it Thunderbolt or I'm sorry, was it USB-C?
It looked
does
like it
look
was
that way.
USB on the back, but we'll have to see it again.
It's just a look, man, I've left Mac and I'm never turning back. Like the best business move we made was leaving Macintosh.
I'm with you. The second I need a new computer, I'm going PC. Not even a question.
100% with you on that. And we've made that shift, and Jeff's looking at it, and we're going to make that shift. I'm going to turn the audio back on once he maybe shows something that seems relevant. But my bigger bummer is I can't tell. Yeah, it looks like he's using an Apple over there, and that might be a Thunderbolt cord. And so the only catch would be is if that just locks us out. Why not Mac? Why not Mac? VFX Todd. I don't like the limited upgradability, to be honest with you.
Totally with you.
I'm not going to spend the money on a brand new tower. I'm a trash can owner. Jeff has a super high-end iMac. And the reason we walked away from it was once we started analyzing, I started looking as a business owner, the amount of money I would spend to upgrade that computer just wasn't worth it to me. At the end of the day, I could buy 3 or 4 great laptops or 3 or 4 great PCs, upgradable, build them out the way I want them, make them workhorses. And frankly, we shifted away from any Mac products anyway. I don't use Final Cut X. I hate Final Cut X. I've never used it. Adobe is multi-platform, but now we've even left Adobe. Weirdly,
DaVinci.
I know I'm a full DaVinci guy now, and I think DaVinci. We just ran a complete workflow that we should probably talk about, and we should do this on the show. We'll talk about this a little bit more on Jeff's channel, which is right here in the tech screen side of things. But me and Jeff and I'll explain it. We just ran a full DaVinci workflow. Jeff is in North Carolina. My editor is at home, sick with the COVID, actually. And then I'm here, and we did a full workflow. So there's no reason there's nothing about Mac that makes the architecture interesting. And Thunderbolt 3 is available on my PC. That's what I'm working off of. And it's great. The old Mac virus problem, or Mac versus PC virus, to be honest with you, I don't download crap on either one of my machines. So I've never had an issue on my PC either. I think that time is gone. By the way,
I agree. I think that's a more than 10-year-old myth at this point. And not that it's a myth, but it's not as prevalent anymore.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Paul Wright says it's not Thunderbolt if it's the same as a regular ATM. Was ATM on Windows laptop earlier this week? That's great. I hope so. ATM Mini. Yeah, I figured that's where you're going with it. Thomas, more PCs are supporting Thunderbolt 3, but it requires hardware support on the motherboard. That is very true. I would, in fact, encourage you, if you go down this path, even if you think you can build your own, unless you're super advanced. I'm an idiot when it comes to building PCs. I would go to a builder and then just figure out that from there. I had to make sure I used Puget systems. I've talked about it before. I absolutely adore them. They were great, but going through them made a big difference to make things shift over. Todd asks, what must-haves would you recommend for a PC for film and video editing? Jeff, what do you say about that? You're a PC guy now.
Well, I mean, first, the graphics card. You can get a really expensive graphics card for a lot cheaper. We can go 8 gigs now, get a nice little NVIDIA or AMD if that's your fancy. And then also, doing more than a quad core. Getting an 8-core computer. I mean, listen, for $1,200, you can get a pretty loaded out computer that competes with what Mac's selling for like almost $4,000 or higher. And it's kind of a no-brainer, because then you have extra operational expenses left over when you're not really getting better performance out of that Mac anymore. If this was 10 years ago and we were all on Final Cut or using Mac proprietary software, it would be a different story. But now that everything can be cross-platform, I mean, it's just a no-brainer to go PC for the amount of power you can get for the money.
I completely agree with you. And I think there's some advantages to Mac. I think the infrastructure on Mac is still fine. I think it's a very stable platform. Windows, though, as Thomas said, I'm going to agree with Thomas here. Windows is way, 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 way better.
Yep.
And there's some perks of Windows. There's some things I miss on Apple. I dearly miss. I won't lie to you. And I still have partial Apple workflow.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. But there are things on PC that I can never go back to. If I was going to recommend a company, Todd asked, any PC build. I'm a big Puget. Where's my little? I don't know where it went. Anyway, I'm a big Puget systems guy. That's the best PC build experience. I paid a little more for it, but I have exactly what I wanted, and I consulted with someone the entire time. Nice. So I would highly suggest checking out Puget Systems. Plus, they do white papers on everything. They're the guys that are giving white papers to most of the other PC vendors out there that are building these custom rigs.
Great.
And Puget is also they're not really a gaming company that modified. They're a production computer company. They build these for production. So
yeah, I found that's the other little hack too. If you really don't know, if you're not in a position where you don't have friends you can talk to about getting a computer, like a nicely spec computer, just get a gaming computer. And if you get a gaming computer, that should be powerful enough. If you're doing, editing and whatnot, if you're doing like crazy CGI type stuff, then you need to consult somebody. But if you're just doing editing, if you get a gaming computer, that should be powerful enough in nowadays to do what you need to do, especially with higher res video.
It's 100%. And look, we did a test before we bought all this. There's videos on our channel. If you go back and look, we walked everybody through it. It was a very organic test. We rented a computer from Best Buy. We did the whole thing. And it was a whole process. And once we got done with it, we found that the rendering times and the edit time were faster out of the PC than the Mac that we had access to, which was a 2015. So I can't personally go out and max out a cheese grater. That's a $35,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. I just not really what I'm going to do. So for that amount of money, I could buy additional camera things. I could hire another employee. Yeah, I could innovate my business in ways that, like, for me to make more money, I need more sales. And for me to make more sales, I need more people selling. Absolutely. So for me and my business model, it's to go out that way to do it. Oh, look at that. Ivan.
What'd you see?
I was going to pop this up. I haven't seen Ivan in a while.
We have Meta Studios in the house as well.
I see that. We'll pop them up there in a bit there. Yeah, I think I think the debate should end. I think we should stop being divisive, Mac versus PC, and just note that I found for me and my business better advantages business-wise in owning PCs, because I need to buy multiple computers, not just one. If I were buying just one computer,
I'd probably spend the extra on a Mac if that was the case.
I would absolutely. If I were buying, yeah, absolutely, 100%. If I were buying one computer, it'd be that way. But I buy potentially 3 or 4, so I can outfit everybody to be on the same workflow eventually. And so, to me, it makes more sense to get up. And look, we've not had any issues. We've had no compatibility. I think we've even done some work with you and had no compatibility issues. So that's somebody outside of our own ecosystem. We've mixed Mac and PC. There's no problem. There's a couple of tricks you need, a couple of hacks. Maybe I should make a video on that. But
yeah, for real.
Simple hacks you can do to make your PC work like a Mac.
One thing I forgot, this PC I'm using actually has Thunderbolt, weirdly enough, and this is a laptop.
Oh, no joke.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that because I've hooked this up to my I forget what the Mac monitor is called, but it's the one that's like made by Apple and it's made to like work with your computer and comes with chargers and everything. But anyways, I've hooked this up to there and I've just used my Mac monitor or this PC and with my Mac monitor. It's been great.
Stoggy Return says PC rule, crapple drool. I just spent about $1,200. I hope that was on a computer. And Stoggy said, but Blackmagic's not a fan of PC. That is true. Blackmagic very much has a business deal with Apple.
Especially with that external GPU they sell for their computers.
Listen, I hate that damn thing more. That's what got me. That's actually that's what triggered me. What caused my trigger was I tried to take my trash can and hook up an external GPU, and it would not allow me because the ports weren't up to date, and I just lost my mind. I was like, "That's it, I'm done. I can't handle it."
Actually, you know what lost me on Apple was when I am forced to use an older operating system because of my graphics card because it's NVIDIA and they don't support NVIDIA anymore. And that move alone is what made me decide that when I get my next computer, it's going to be PC, because the fact that I cannot upgrade this to the newest operating system and take advantage of that is really upsetting and it's really frustrating. And it basically turned me away. That's my story. But I mean,
I get it. If anybody else has one of those, it's great. Now, I will say, this is something that we're going to bring up on your show. I'd love to talk about B-Raw. You've had a lot of experience from some narrative products. I'd love to talk about B-Raw from now, again, Craft Show being anti-Blackmagic cameras for a number of years. I've had to eat crow, eat my words. I've had to eat my shoe. Now we're making a shift and we've made it Blackmagic, but we'll talk about that on the stream coming up after this. I will probably cut this one a little bit early so you and I can have a break and get prepped. But if you head over and you follow at Reach Films, we're gonna drive it up there. I've left it up. If you just jump over and you want to get into the tech conversation, we very much want to take it. We'll talk about as much as we can here, but once they start bringing in cameras, if that happens, obviously we'll jump back in over and check in on it. But right now the conversation is PC and Apple. Yes, we made the shift, and that's I don't think I could ever go back to it. I'm going to jump over just to check in with him, see if he's saying anything relevant. I don't think so yet.
Preferences. And you can see how that works. In the manual's got some details on it. Now, one of the other features we've got in here is we thought, well, with a powerful streaming engine built in, we thought it'd be good if we could actually record the stream as well. So what we did is we added the same software that runs on our Hyperdeck Studio Mini into the AT Mini Pro. So this lets us record video direct to an external USB device.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie.
USB disc.
Yeah.
Now, this is an exact duplicate of the video you're streaming. The video is encoded with H.264 format with an AAC codec, which means you can upload the file to YouTube or any other streaming service later. Now, this kind of protects against an internet outage. Like, say we're doing a live stream and the internet went out. Well, if you're recording the stream, then you've always got something for upload later. Now, you've also got a choice between different data rates. As you can see in the menu there, I've got the Hyperdeck data rates, which are really high quality, almost they're broadcast quality data rates. And there's also some lower quality streaming data rates as well, which are pretty good.
Cool.
But they're more designed to allow you to get through lower internet speeds. Now, there's a button for the recording on the front panel as well. You can see it right there. And there's also a disk status light just above it. So you get the status of the disk. Now, the disk status light will show green when the disk is ready to record. It'll show red when you are recording. It also blinks slowly if your disk is about to become full. So that's very much like a Hyperdeck. Because the data is recorded in H.264.
All right, still same stuff. I do think the recording feature is kind of fascinating because we've, as the more we stream, the more you run into these kind of things. And I don't know, is anybody out here in the chat? Just throw it up there real quick. Or if you're watching at home, I'll read the comment later. Is anybody doing live streaming right now? Are you guys able to pivot your businesses in this sort of slowdown that we've all hit to do any live streaming? I know that Reach Films and Craft Show have, Jeff and I have. It's funny having the other Jeff Fagan and I have. And Worley is doing his own thing too in that same branch. But has anybody else jumped in on it? Have you had other friends jump in on it, Fagan?
It'll be interesting to see how everyone's doing it, because everyone. I mean, even Scott's method is different from what we're using, but it works for him, so that's why he carries on doing it.
Yeah, of course. Look, OBS works. There's all kinds of stuff. We were using Live was it Wirecast for all the original craft show streams. That's how we learned to do it. And now we've gone on to StreamYard here, and I don't think I could ever go back. I actually quite love StreamYard.
I'm with you. I don't think I'd ever go back to OBS just out of the simplicity.
Yeah, that's the bigger catch, right?
Yeah, and we should do a video on it and talk about, you know, this whole thing, and I think people would be interested in how it all goes about.
Yeah, there's that little link there. If you see it pop up on the screen here, if you don't mind, if you're interested in StreamYard, you can download it through this link. But if I would love it, and we would all love it, if you would go back through and use that to sign up for it if you decide to use it. Let's see. Thomas says, is anyone having clients pay them up to set up live streaming? Yes, I've had a couple, and we're actually in the process of creating bids and a strategy to help them even further do that same level of streaming. So we're working on that to make it a relationship with them.
I would say the only thing, I don't know if you're having to do this, Drew, but essentially a lot of the companies I'm working with for the live streaming, I'm essentially having to be the controller of their live stream as well. And not out of this isn't like a business tactic of me trying to stay in control. This is them. They don't want to deal with it. They know I know how to use it, and they don't want to deal with switching cameras and doing 1 shots and 2 shots and highlighting comments and this and that. They want somebody to take care of everything for them and then just, you know, sign in and be able to live stream.
I think one of the, go ahead.
No, that was the end of my comment. I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you.
No, it totally is. What I was going to suggest is it's almost in a weird way. It's like we have the tech know-how, so it's almost like you can pivot and become a master control operator. Because we talked about it before. You don't even show up on a couple of your streams, right? You like your face will not be shown on some of these, and you're literally just producing from the back. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, the Jazz's ones, that's pretty much how it is. Like, I'll pop in before the stream goes live, which is the other cool thing. You guys can all have a chat before you go live, and I'll kind of give them the lowdown of how things work, and then I pop out. I can hear everything. They just can't hear me, and I'm not in the stream. I'm invisible.
There you go. Cineblog says he's moving to Studio 6. Cineblogs, I have not checked that out yet, and that's the Vimeo platform. I'm very curious. That's I may go experiment with that. Always looking to innovate in that space. Hey, and if anybody's watching this Blackmagic stream and something happens on their channel and you're listening to them and us at the same time, just give me a heads up. I'll turn the audio back on for this side. We're just, the live stream boxes, it is what it is. That's exciting, but not necessarily the end all be all. I'm sure news guys are way happy about it.
They filter in the camera like way down the line, not right at the end, but before the end, because they want you to everyone to sit through the whole thing.
Oh yeah, this is I get it. It's a total fish hook. Ding ding. Cineblogs is doing the same thing you're doing, Jeff. That's great.
Cool.
Thomas brings up a cool point. Directing the stream is ongoing revenue, not just one and done setup. Correct. That is a brilliant. I'm going to leave that up for a second so people can kind of think through that. That is absolutely what we've been saying is the pivot. And you know me, like I'm a creator, but what funds my ability to do whatever the hell I want creatively is the fact that I have clients, right? And that is a fantastically brilliant statement. That is ongoing revenue, and I think it's really important that everyone think about that concept of ongoing. Cineblogs, if anyone needs data points, Vimeo embedded works. That's fantastic. Great point. And he also says you can force email capture with Vimeo, which I think is great.
That's great. That's amazing.
A great way to drive and keep those conversations, especially like live streams in that sense.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, we're not stuck. We're not stuck on StreamYards. Like it's not the fact. It's just out of everything we've used so far, it's the simplest. But there's who's to say, you know, tomorrow a company doesn't come out with an even better platform.
Well, somebody else already sent me another one that was very simple and very similar to StreamYards. I didn't. I looked at the pricing structure though, and that's what I'm looking at. If the fact that right now, when I finish this, I hit a button and I can download an audio or video recording. Certainly for what Craft Show is doing with storytelling right now, we're obsessed with capturing content. That's our pivot. It's way more advantageous. The downside of this, I would say, of StreamYard is versus like OBS or Wirecast is having content queued up. Like if we wanted to, it has to be on the web and it has to play back through the web and all that kind of junk. Whereas, you know, Craft Show used to have this whole way of bringing up our own videos and talking about them and doing breakdowns live. It's a little bit trickier to do it on this than it was.
It's possible. It's just not easy. And that's where I think either StreamYards may have to up their game or another company may come in and be like, here's our solution for you.
Good point. It's a very good point. I mean, I love a Dropbox integration or a Google Drive integration would be cool.
That would be great. That would be so cool.
but even an offline upload or something, I don't know. It'd be an interesting
Mhm.
scenario if they could get to it.
Yeah, I actually still haven't figured out how to save the recordings on these. I've been basically ripping them off of YouTube after they go live.
Oh yeah, yeah. So when we're done, when you finish,
Mhm.
there's a link button on the top right there, and you click on it, and it brings it up. So
Uh,
you can pull down your audio and
cool.
video. And so if anybody's listening to the podcast that we have, it's called Either Way. We
Mhm.
stream on this. We stream a lot on Facebook, but you
Mhm.
can take that and I can rip the audio and then make our audio podcast. And so I use Anchor.fm for the audio side, which is also free. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of ways right now to make content. That's one of the big things that I think live stuff is really brilliant to do right now is live streaming with clients. Again, let's talk about how we can make you more money. Live
Mhm.
streaming with clients right now, the trick is this is a chance for them to build communities. So when
Yep.
things come out after, when the world returns to a state in which we can go outside, they have an opportunity. They already have an audience. They have a new community that's
Mhm.
willing to support them. Maybe
Mhm.
I would encourage that right now, and that's what we've been selling to clients is helping them create a community in this time when they can't do a lot of other stuff.
Agreed.
It's really a great way to do it. Cindy Blog says we were already positioned to use Vimeo with a business account. I do more corporate. I get it. Totally get it.
Cool. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. What how was your stream this morning?
It was good. We had a buddy of mine, Devin from South Africa, and he basically just kind of gave us the lowdown on what's going on in South Africa. Because obviously, one of the things he brought up, if you guys have ever seen District 9, the conditions of those aliens aren't just like that's based in reality of living conditions in South Africa. And they're facing a huge problem with COVID-19 and the way some of the people live in some certain areas there. So they're obviously a lot more strict with everything that's going on in South Africa than the US is.
Right.
Um, and
Absolutely.
then and then I did the Jazz Is stream, which that was pretty cool. We had a jazz legend, Bob James, and he did like a few songs for us live, and it was a very long chat. It was like over an hour and a half, but it was great. It was great to see.
That's a long chat. That's a long time to stay on the air. I'm
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
wondering
for
how
real.
long this Blackmagic shift might go. It may be that we have to jump this conversation to your channel anyway. Just to
They're
mix
typically
it up a
about an
bit.
hour.
Yeah, okay. So they may be squeezing one in, squeezing in a camera gig after this stuff. It feels like they could be setting up a camera scenario. However,
Mhm.
my gut instinct still stands that what we're going to see here is potentially a studio camera
It's possible.
and yeah,
It's
and not
possible.
necessarily a cinema camera, which is a
Mhm.
bummer. I really want a G2 with a 6K sensor or G3, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I want that camera with a 6K sensor. I
Mhm.
adore that camera.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm with you. And I think that's the next step. They have to come out if they're not going to do an 8K camera, they have to do at least 6K because listen, I like the image better on the G2 than on the Pocket 6K. It's got a little bit more dynamic range, but it has the resolution which some people need. And so them being able to do, a 14.5, 15 stop sensor that's 6K on a G3 or whatever they want to call it, that's what a lot of people are going to want.
oh yeah, big time,
But we'll see.
big
We'll
time.
see. You could be right. It could be that they take the sensor and from a pocket camera or a pocket 6K, and that's the studio camera. It's just a sensor, a screen, and an outboard,
Yeah,
HDMI,
so
SDI,
it's
whatever.
exactly, and that's what it is. There's interesting thoughts popping up on that too. Is I think a studio camera around live stream may be built on the Pocket 4K, which I agree.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
it's fine. And then he says
Hmm.
he follows it up with a full frame camera. I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I just don't know. And look, I like full frame. I guess. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm just so used to Super 35. Like I feel like a
Hmm.
lot of
Me
stuff is
too.
trend
Yeah.
versus practicality. I don't have a
Hmm.
lot of. I mean, look, a lens is a lens, but
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of full frame lenses, nor do I often
Hmm.
have the budget to shift over to it.
Hmm.
So for me, knowing that I can do spherical or anamorphic is what makes me happy anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with it not being full frame anamorphic. I'm okay with it not being full frame. Um, you know,
I think if you need a professional full frame camera, that's what the FX9 is for. As far as the low end of full frame or the low end of cinema camera full frame. I mean, the
yeah, true.
FX9 is a great camera.
Yeah, but again, see, I just go back to I don't think you should buy anything anymore. I think everything should be
I
about
agree.
rental.
Yeah, no,
Black Magic
100%.
being the exception.
Mhm.
Again,
But
we
they're half
bought.
the price. It's half
Yeah,
the price of an FX9,
for
your
certain
G2.
clients. For certain
Yeah.
clients, like there's some
Yeah.
clients, like we have some high-end name brand clients. Jeff is currently shooting for right now.
Mhm.
Jeff is using it with really high-end clients, but
Yeah.
I it's not always the end all be all, and it has nothing to do with the clients don't know the brand. I'm just talking about
the end product.
Yeah, I had a major snafu on a shoot the other day, like a major problem. It was epic. And I'll talk about that on the live stream over with you, because I think that is a technical issue.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like he's setting up for camera. He's still talking about the box.
Thomas
Thomas
these
says
only go about an hour.
Yeah. Thomas says G2 upgrade would be fantastic, but I'll be surprised. The studio camera would make sense. Totally agree. Steve Holt got one, and is saying they're so back ordered. I think everything is going to be back ordered for a while, Steve. And I'm sorry you're stuck waiting for it. That's terrible. But
and the Blackmagic game is because they don't have enough. They never really have enough supply. The Pocket 6K was the first camera I saw that they had enough supply at launch to get one. Typically, it's like you know, it's you put the pre-orders in, and then the eBay prices for like 1-2 months are like astronomical,
right?
Because you can't get them. And this is just how the game is. If you really need it, you're going to pay it. But most people just wait.
Yeah. I do think it's cool. I just feel like you can do this kind of stuff with a Stream Deck. It just, nothing wrong with it. From a higher end production side, this is fantastic for Facebooking. Like, you know what you and I are doing right now, unless you really brought in a bigger jazz piece to your show, where you had a multicam just for the band. I think, you know, most of this content is relatively easy. I think live streaming right now is really important. And I'm hoping people are paying attention that if things don't change, and I'm not being a Debbie Downer, if we're staying in this for a while, I think it's really important to know how to do live streaming.
Well, and I had to go over this with a client too. You know, in these times, the quality isn't necessarily the video quality, the audio quality. It isn't all necessarily important. It's about the content. So, you know, when we're going into people's house, or we're not going in, you know, we're having a lot of these jazz artists.
They better not be going. They're not going in where they see it.
We're not. Yeah, they don't want us going in their house, and I don't blame them. But what they're doing is they're setting up their iPhone or their iPad or their computer, and people are willing to watch because it's great content, and it's acceptable right now. But when we get out of this, we'll have the technology to where it may not be as acceptable anymore. And that's where something like the A10 Mini makes sense, to do multicam live streams in someone's like home studio. Makes total sense if you're going to do a multicam. For right now, though, we're not going into their house. So honestly, at least for what I'm doing, I think the one camera angle is fine.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think most people look right now, if you look at the content, there's so many people going live just because they can. They're stuck at home. People that I've never seen go live before, you know, it's just a thing. However, it also means that I've seen stuff that people are literally going through and just using their phones. Like, that's one of the things that we've loved about this StreamYard is I literally could send a link to anybody. You don't have to have a computer or a camera. You can literally join this from your phone right now. That's made it highly accessible. That's a major deal. You talk about getting interviews, or as CineBlog said, adapt or die. Talking about being able to adapt, we're literally able to send easy interviews out for people to jump on, and it makes your interviewer feel the person you're interviewing feel at ease.
100%.
Yeah.
To give you guys an example for Jazz I have the next month and a half already booked of people on our schedule. And there's some very, very famous people on there that we would not have been able to get if this platform didn't make it so easy for us to be like, listen, man, you could go on your iPhone and do this, and we're fine with that. The quality is great. And the guy's like, you know what? I'm in. Let's do this thing. It wasn't as easy before. So now's the time. It really is.
Absolutely. It makes it easier for oh, that's brilliant. So Steve ordered the ATM for live to tape, which is awesome. It's so funny that like LTT is coming back. Like, that's where, you know, I'm old school. I cut film, but I also cut video back. And I was, you know, when Fagan was running around in his diapers, I was cutting on a reel-to-reel machine. So it's great to see people bring live to tape back. I think that's fantastic. It does save a ton of time. It's very quick, very efficient, especially in a static situation like a guitar or drum tutorial. That's fantastic. Steve, what's your channel? Throw it up here. I don't mind sharing this stuff. I think right now we all want more
together.
Steve Holt,
we're all in this together, guys.
Big pimping it. CineBlogs, anybody. If CineBlogs is that's your channel, or you want us to see something, now's the time to throw it in here, and throw it in. Thomas, another great quote from Thomas is like, I think we need to have Thomas on the show. Thomas,
absolutely.
You should come talk. I like your thinking processes here. Folks who are new to this don't understand lighting audio and believe that multicam and a switch array will be the key, more appealing stream. That's a good point. I think that it's a great marketing angle. Reality is we all know we can stream without it. I think it makes it easier. Steve's answer to that being the fact that he uses it for multicam is fantastic. Again, I think if we had a multitude of users coming in or a multitude of camera angles, almost like a TV switcher service, a real master control, if you will, I think that would make a different beast altogether.
Did you see Jared Land's post about him using a Komodo to do a live stream?
No.
It was so funny. He's like, yeah, now that apparently cinematography is becoming a thing in live streaming since people are stuck home, here's my setup. And he shows him using like a Stormtrooper Komodo with, I forget what lens it is, but it doesn't matter. It was just to see that camera being used as a live camera. I'm like, and that's probably how ridiculous it was with my setup before. Like, now I understand. But I mean, it can be done. It's just funny to see it happen.
You know, we did all those live streams back when we were doing that piece where we were actually live streaming off of
the red, right?
Master Prime red camera Master Prime anamorphics. Like we were shooting on some of the most expensive glass you can get your hands on, and we were shooting live streams with it. I don't think people fully understood that gag, but we were laughing. It was like, this is the most expensive live stream we've ever done or will ever do. You know, that's just $75,000 piece of glass, and we're just sitting there streaming with it. Stupid stuff too, you know, just normal Jeff and Drew.
Yeah, and it's like people like us will appreciate it, but the viewers probably they're looking at it and they're like, "Oh, let's go."
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna check back in.
So it's really good. Now you can also see the
seems like I checked in at the wrong time.
Yeah, we checked in on more A10 Pro switcher stuff.
Time remaining and the space remaining. Just below the time remaining is the space remaining. So you see how much disk space is there. And the streaming palette shows when you're on air. It shows the.
Oh, there we go. So same
stuff. I like this though. We're all in the weight of the Blackmagic game together.
Yeah, right. It is. It's just kind of writing it out, and then we can discuss again. If you want to talk it out, you can discuss over on the tech side of things. I think we can talk a little bit about. I know I'm going to talk about Blackmagic Raw. I hope Jeff comes in on that. Worley comes in on that conversation. Anybody else that you have lined up or whatever. I think that convo is very important. There's
absolutely
two ways. One, I think there's a money conversation that can be had, and I think there's a creative conversation that can be had that's fascinating.
Absolutely. And Jeff said he would join on his phone.
Oh, great.
When we wrote in that group chat yesterday. So I think that's the way to do it. I'll in that group chat, I'll just send the link.
Yeah. So this is cool, Steve. I'm really curious, man. I hope that if we do another video and you have a chance to drop it in, I'd love to see any of this stuff. Like I'm all about this right now. I think we're showing live from a studio is fantastic. I think it's a cool way to innovate. And there's a gentleman up here earlier, Jeff, another Jeff, I believe. That way we don't encroach on Jeff the Roadie's space. Like they just happen to be in studio. We do a live stream. That's way better answer to what I was trying to say. I think it's great. Cine Blogs, I think Blackmagic Design is just capitalizing on all the hardware they already got. I totally agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, they're a smart company. They figured out what their audience is, and they've targeted them very well. And they have a rabid fan base that, just like Red does. You don't see it as much with Ari because I think Ari is just not as accessible to rabid fan bases. But I mean, there's DPs that don't use anything but Ari now. Deacons is one of those clearly, which, you know, if you haven't seen 1917, it's out now. I highly even if you don't care, just go rent it from Redbox for $1. Make sure you wash your hands before and after that entire encounter. But go watch 1917 and watch one of the most gloriously filmed things I've ever seen in my life. It's phenomenal.
I'm trying to think what else is on right now while we're waiting for this. Bad Boys came out a few days ago.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. They're popcorn movies for me. I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do have to say though, but I think it's the first not Michael Bay one. I think it's the best.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, I think it's the best, and it's not Michael Bay. It's these like unknown guys, and they got tapped to do some really big movie after them doing Bad Boys.
Right. Yeah. Sadly, we are invested big time with their live Switch stuff. It's now just sitting in our studio. Man, I hate that. But you know, that's why I get it too. That's a little bit harder to rent, obviously. Cine Blogs, you're kind of stuck that way. But I get it. Like that's why I keep going back. Like, I have a red Dragon and a Scarlet. Jeff happened to take the batteries with him. I can't even use those two cameras. Like they're sitting dead because we use the Blackmagic over those. That tells you I'm like, so I get it. I have two paperweights just sitting there. This might be a transition point. So this is what he did. I'm bringing the audio back up.
getting things through has been a little bit tricky, but we're getting there. As you can see, there's the slide with the price. Now, we think this new model will be a really nice complement to the original A2 Mini, and you can really choose the model you need based on the type of work you're doing, whether you need all the capability here or not. Now, so that should be very exciting. I can't wait to see what people do with the new A2 Mini Pro. Now, the last thing I wanted to really talk about, well, actually, I've got two more things to talk about. But the last update I've got is we've got a new HyperDeck Studio Mini update. Now, HyperDeck Studio
No!
even a great clip player for the A2 Mini.
At least he's honest. There's two more things, so this is the one before the two.
Tiny little HyperDeck.
Can you see? Can anybody see their stream numbers? Because I'm locked in. I can't see them.
Running the same codec and same software.
I could probably pull it up at least on YouTube.
You can use it as a great clip player for A2 Mini Pro. I'll put it on here so you can see it. Now, the
turn off the volume when it pops up.
Big update. I mean, this is a big update we've done for this. We've got a lot
4,277 people on YouTube.
Some new features.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good, respectable live stream.
It's almost like,
and I think they're on Facebook too, but I don't see where the Facebook one is.
One of the biggest things we've done, we've got longer file recordings, but in a single file. So now you can record at least 3 hours, depending on the frame rate, at least 3 hours before it spawns off another file.
All right.
Before it was about an hour, I think.
So yeah,
nice. I think both of us are definitely going to get a nice LaCroix before the next stream.
Oh yeah, I think we'll have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I switched over. I don't know if you guys have. Do you guys have AHA down there yet? Have you guys seen this yet? You know me and my waters. Yeah. It's basically bubbly as Pepsi. AHA is Coke's version, and the flavors are a little bit. This one's blueberry pomegranate or something, and they have one that's.
Give it a try.
It sounds like it's weird. It's coffee and cherry, and it sounds bizarre. But everyone that drinks it, their face is always this. They take the first sip and they're like, oh, and then it like
sparkling water.
Yeah, bro. It's caffeinated sparkling water. It's amazing. They also make one that's green tea and citrus, which is again 30 milligrams of caffeine. I don't need any more caffeine in my life, but when I do, it does happen that way.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely look into it. I have my I have Instacart coming on Tuesday. I already did my order.
There you go. Thomas saying I'm cheating on Topo. Yeah, well, Topo's actually gotten harder to find here in Alabama. I had a resource, but Walmart's down here. People are freaking out because Alabama's the next to get hit, right? My state is refusing to lock down because, I ain't sick. So we'll see what happens with that situation.
We only got put in lockdown as of today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but Miami was already in it, right?
Right, but only Miami Beach, and Palm Beach. They were the only cities in Orlando. Gotcha. They were the only 4 cities. Now the whole state's, I guess, not technically lockdown, but stay at home. So it's as close as you can be.
Yeah. And I keep looking, it's funny because I look at the data on it all the time, and it's like the panhandle right by me. I'm like, oh, shucks. It's I can tell where the problem is. It's southern Alabama through the panhandle, and now Georgia's on lockdown. So it's only a matter of time before they shut us down. Okay, here we go. Going back over.
There we go.
It'll be available today. So you can just go on down.
All right, this is it.
Update your HyperDeck Studio Mini, get a whole new HyperDeck essentially.
Yes, Cindy Blogs, we are.
Before I finish up, it might be worth talking about how powerful these A2 Mini switches really are.
Boo!
Yeah, for real.
Use it the same way broadcasters work.
We've had enough of your A10.
I think we totally all got flayed.
And so, if you're doing bigger jobs, you can keep using A2 Mini. You don't have to change to a bigger switcher. You can still use it. It's easy to think of A2 Mini as being a simple switcher because it's so small. But if you add to like a 1ME advanced panel, you can really see how big it is. Now, I've got an ATEM 1ME advanced panel over here, so I thought I might show you how to use this. I'll connect it up. I've got, obviously I've been connected direct to the software here, but what I'll do is I've got a couple of cables here.
Yeah, we ain't getting nothing, bro. We're getting a dude hooking up cables. I'm gonna alter this. I'm gonna create a new banner, and I'm gonna say, let's talk about actual cameras.
Yeah, for real.
Now I'm plugged and looped through. You can see the panels have come up, and because I'm looped through the now, the great thing about an ATME 1ME panel, I'll go down if you can pull me down. Yeah, you get separate buttons for everything because the panel's got a lot more space than obviously we've got here. So you can really do like you've got dedicated buttons for everything. That's why it's so powerful, it's so fast. So if you follow me down,
I can go back to talking trash again.
So
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Our conversation on my channel may end up being just us talking about Blackmagic Raw. If it ends up being a streaming camera.
Well, it could be streaming tutorial. It probably isn't the best time to announce a camera. Like that's giving us hope. It's like, hey guys, go outside and shoot by yourself. It'd be like, Blackmagic would like to introduce the first 2-man camera, and it's like, no, like you can't touch it for whatever, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking that last night. I'm like, if they announce a low end camera, like a pocket type camera, probably the worst time, because then now's the time people should not be spending money on cameras like that. If they announce like a production camera or something that's more for like production companies, makes a little bit more sense, because at least they may have the cash to order them, or at least quicker than like the one-man band type crews can.
I think the other thing we might want to talk about over on your channel, or maybe we'll do a video, another stream. Would you guys, anybody in this channel now, or you probably already found out by then, but within the next couple of days, if anybody wants to talk about and understand a little bit more about either the small business loans, I've gone through this, I'd be happy to talk about it. I've worked with my accountant on it. Or if you'd like to learn more about the PPP, which is the payroll, there is a system. If you have your own company and let's say you don't draw necessarily paycheck, there's allegedly something going into play where a profit distribution will work in that capacity for you for 2 months. And it's 2.5 times what you gave yourself in profit distribution. Interesting, up to 100K. So interesting conversation for 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Yeah, that's what it's 2 months, 8 weeks. So if you guys want to talk about that stuff, I'd get my accountant to come on and we can have a round table about it that I think would be super helpful. If any of you are in that spot in the US, I'd obviously overseas consult your individuals. Always consult your attorney. I mean, your accountant, attorney too.
And your attorney.
Yeah. Before going down any of these paths, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's a worthy conversation to have for sure in that space. Anybody wants it, you can post it there and we'll get back to it. Or if not, I don't care. I'll do it on the Facebook side, because I think there's a lot of small business owners over there that might want it as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of people in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy stuff. For sure.
Grant may need that if he keeps talking about these 810 minis.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. You can also get 10K if you do your disaster loans. Yeah. All right. So Thomas says that, yeah, I totally agree, Thomas. We will get that. I'm going to work on it. I'll get it happening as fast as I can. He actually texted me late last night. I have a great relationship with my accountant. We're buddies, but he texted me and was like, hey, do not do the paperwork. I mean, do the SBA loans. Long story short, the PPP stuff is changing constantly. Let's have a conversation before you do anything. And then I got another text from another business owner this morning that said, hey, they're covering profit distributions. This is a big, crazy situation that, I think all of us need to be considerate of and know what we're getting into, but it certainly does set us up for expansion. This is a way to maybe leverage some money. If you're not hurting right now, like if you're financially okay in the moment and you don't foresee an upcoming downturn for yourself, it's kind of an interesting conversation to have about maybe this is a way to leverage some of this income, or this opportunity rather, to expand your business. And that doesn't mean going out and buying more equipment. It means thinking about how you can make more money. I think a lot of times as gearheads, we all want to rush and buy gear, but gear don't get the work unless you're a rental house and you got an Ariel F, apparently.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Or a Monstro.
A Monstro, I guess. Yeah. People are into it.
Division.
I'm going to have to rent before I go bananas down that path again.
No, I'm with you. I guess while we're waiting, the call we're doing next week, was that live or is that recorded only?
I'm good either way. It's whatever he's comfortable with. I feel like in the conversation, we should probably do that recorded.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It could just to keep it timely.
That's why I didn't mention what we were doing.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it'd be timely. It's worth a combo. I took care of that, and I've uploaded some stuff to see how that process went. It's been very interesting. So
cool. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that you went through the process. So you know.
Yeah. So coming up on, I'm not going to pitch it hardcore. I will just tease it. But coming up on one of the shows we have on here called Off Automatic or Off Auto, we're going to talk about ways to make residual income. And Jeff and I have gone through and talked about this and put some interesting stories and concepts and individuals together It's a lot more about content than it is like gimmicks and hacks, because
Right.
there are no gimmicks and hacks. You still got to do the work, make the money. You got to do the work. But I think it's going to be a great conversation, and we'll probably tease that in with the stream ahead of that, and then we'll bring in this next guest or something. But just pay attention. If you're not subscribed, obviously it's at Craft Show. You guys that are watching this now are probably subscribed, maybe not.
Or if you're watching this after the fact.
Yeah, there you go. It's at Craft Show. I should probably throw up the little gimmick one more time. Bloop, there you go. And then over on Reach Films channel, which is kind of like where I think you get better review stuff, because Jeff is better about it than I am. You can check it out. I'll let you plug that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so on my channel, it's a little bit of a mixture. It's a place that I put some of my work, do some BTS for some of my shoots, but then also do reviews on gear. So if I get a product in, sometimes it's sent to me, sometimes it's just something that I picked up for a shoot, and if I like it, I'm going to review it, because if I like it, then there's going to be someone else that likes it. Now, on the offhand, occasionally there's a piece of gear that I've used that I thought was going to be really great that isn't great. And the reason I review it is to let you know why I don't think it's great. So that's kind of in a nutshell what my channel is about.
There you go. Shamelessly plugging them. Keep them going.
Thank you.
All right. So we're looking here. It looks like we went wide. Let's pop in one more time here. I feel like we're on a stupid MSNBC, CNN, Fox News broadcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that was the end of the stream,
That was
Ray.
it? That was it? What? So no new camera. So the camera update was literally an update to use with their ATEM switchers.
Literally, it meant camera update, not
Yeah.
It
So they
literally
need
meant camera
to choose
update.
their terms wisely, because last time they did this whole camera update thing, that's when we got the Pocket 6K.
That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
Okay, well, if you would like to join the conversation, we're going to talk about gear, cameras, B-raw, workflow. I think there's a great conversation to be had over there. Head over to Reach Films. We'll start that live stream here in a couple of minutes. A little bit of time for us to have a bubble.
Gonna go grab a water. Gonna go set up the stream on my end, and we'll be ready to go.
All right, and I'll wait for that invite. But thanks for watching and hanging out. And if you are watching this in the past, present, or future, whatever that is, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, check out at Craft Show for all your whatever needs, and check out at Reach Films for all the other needs. We got all the needs. We're right here.
We got you covered.
All right, bye.